Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Health campaigners have accused the government of watering down its long-awaited plan to reduce childhood obesity in England. There'll be no curbs on junk food advertising, and a scheme for the food industry to cut sugar from some of its products will be voluntary. But a tax on soft drinks will be invested in school, sports and breakfast clubs. Our UK Affairs correspondent Jeremy Cook reports on a scheme in Wigan which is helping to tackle obesity in children.
They're having fun, getting active, burning calories. Keep moving, skipping. A Wigan Council summer camp, part of a comprehensive approach to the obesity crisis. These children and their families are learning about activity and exercise, about nutrition and diet. It's all about making the right lifestyle choices. 2, 1, go! This is an 18-month programme and targets children identified as having weight issues.
Does anyone know anything about sugar?
It's bad for you.
The kids are here to play, but they and their parents also get a crash course in healthy eating, the danger of sugar and of supersized portions.
Just squeeze the orange, one of your 5 a day.
It's fun but deadly serious. Being overweight can have lifelong impacts on our children's health and their happiness.
You've got to try and keep the sugar intake down. Fizzy drinks is our problem. It's hard to sort of like not give them them. You know, we keep them off them.
So you made that change?
Yeah, we've made that change.
I know that the amount of food we eat as a family is too much. He's in a really good environment here and he's having a go. He's saying he's having fruit at his breakfast. That means his mindset's changing. And he's at the age now where that's important. Because if he thinks like that going ahead, then maybe it'll instill it in him for the rest of his life.
I've seen Mackenzie a bit withdrawn sometimes at home when he has felt bullied or he's not been able to join in things. It's just incredible for the confidence, the self-esteem, the mental health, everything.
Tackling childhood obesity is a complex, difficult task. Here, there's a determination to take the challenge head on.
It's great having all these plans and policies and strategies, but we need to get out and we need to be bold, we need to be brave, and we need to start making a difference with each children.
On your feet. For the kids here, it all seems to be working. They're making changes.
I eat a lot less.
I've been a lot more active since I've come. I think I've been doing a lot more exercise.
I tried an apple.
I eat less of pizza and stuff, and I eat more salads.
Go wild!
None of this is easy. But the joined-up approach in Wigan takes tackling childhood obesity to a new level. Success here measured not just in lost pounds, but also in growing confidence. Jeremy Cook, BBC News, Wigan.
Well, our health editor Hugh Pym is here with me now, and they certainly think they're doing something right in Wigan, but there's been lots of criticism of the government's new strategy, and even the boss of Sainsbury's thinks it doesn't go far enough.
Yes, Fiona, normally businesses don't like new regulations, but the boss of Sainsbury's, Mike Coop, has said he doesn't think the plan goes far enough. He thinks there should be compulsory regulation of sugar content of food and drink products. And yes, there's been widespread criticism too across the health world, although some say at least it's a start alongside the sugar tax. Now, perhaps the most eye-catching criticism has come from Sarah Wollaston, a Conservative MP, chair of the Commons Health Select Committee. She's directly attacked the Prime Minister and said the plan falls far short of the rhetoric from Theresa May on the steps of Downing Street when she took over, talking about health inequalities. So I think Theresa May, when she's back from her holiday, will find that she is going to have to defend what's happened in the last couple of days and the publication of this strategy.
Thank you. Thank you.
We reported here last night on claims the government was about to announce a heavily watered-down obesity strategy. Well, today it was launched and ministers denied it had been downgraded, but it was still widely condemned for not being ambitious enough. The TV chef and healthy eating campaigner Jamie Oliver called it disappointing and underwhelming, and others said it had let down a generation of children.
There were plenty of calories burnt today criticising the government, as dozens of organisations complained that the plan to tackle obesity had been drastically slimmed down itself. With a third of children now fighting their weight, The government's swerved demands to limit the ads they see and the sugar they eat with no extra regulation of industry.
I think there's much more that could have been done, but in the long term some of this will make a difference. So like trying to take some of the sugar out of products over a long period of time, but unfortunately there's no compulsion. So, I would like to see much tougher regulation backing this up.
When a tax on sugary drinks was announced in March, many hoped more action would follow.
I think this was a big, bold, brave, unconventional move.
But today, Jamie Oliver wrote, "I'm in shock. With this disappointing and frankly underwhelming strategy, the health of our future generations remains at stake." Last year, the NHS in England spent over £5 billion treating illnesses related to weight, and the problem's getting worse. While around a quarter of adults were obese in 2014, that's projected to rise to half of us by 2050, with the cost doubling to almost £10 billion a year.
We have the highest rates of obesity in Western Europe. We really needed a strategy that would commit practical, targeted changes that would involve industry, and we needed that to set out a very clear mandate for how many people or what reductions in childhood obesity we might see in the next 5 years, and we've not got that.
This isn't quite the strategy we were promised when David Cameron was living here. If his government started the project, well, Theresa May seems to have finished it off. In fact, the Prime Minister's on holiday right now, along with the Health Secretary, leaving others to defend this 10-page plan.
Those things taken together will be the most ambitious reformulation programme that any developed country has ever tried to do. So to say that's not ambitious, to say that's not a big ask of our industry, our manufacturers, our retailers, is not the case. It is a big ask, but we think we can do it.
Interesting, the only defence came from that former Health Minister. Many suspect the bigger powers just aren't up for this particular fight. Paul Brand, News at 10, Westminster.
Health campaigners have criticised the government's anti-obesity strategy as disappointing and underwhelming, and accused ministers of putting the interests of business ahead of the nation's children. The proposals, confirmed on Thursday, don't include any restrictions on adverts for junk food, and there's no end to price promotions on sugary food and drink. Instead, there's a voluntary target for manufacturers to reduce sugar in their products by 20%. So why did the government water down its plans? Well, our political correspondent Tamara Cohen reports.
Ministers said this plan would be a game changer. Years in preparation, it would provide real solutions to the epidemic of obesity in children. A complex problem, but a pretty slimline report. Just 9 pages of text. It says industry will be challenged to cut sugar from food and drink, not forced to. Encouraged to make their products healthier, but only one mention of legislating. 3 years ago, we heard children's health was an urgent priority.
This is an incredibly serious problem. It's probably as big a threat to the life chances of young people as not being able to find a job when they leave school.
So what went wrong? Dr. Sarah Wollaston chairs the Health Select Committee. She says her party has failed to live up to its principles.
The Prime Minister talked on the steps of Downing Street about the burning injustice, about the gap in life expectancy and wanting to narrow that gap between the richest and the poorest. And this was a huge opportunity through the childhood obesity strategy to get going with that and to signal real intent here to make a difference. And sadly, there have been a number of missed opportunities here.
MPs took hours of evidence from obesity experts, but not all of their recommendations made it into the final draft.
Insiders say there was tension. Here at the Department of Health, they wanted to go further with tougher curbs on TV advertising and special offers in supermarkets. But after the vote for Brexit, the new government felt that the economic realities had changed and businesses were already feeling uncertain.
Labour say the government was simply giving in to the food industry.
This obesity strategy has been watered down because the government has caved into lobbyists, and in particular it's caved in to the food and drink manufacturers and the people that peddle junk food. It's a very disappointing climb down in the face of industry pressure.
The government say their sugar tax and rejigging the recipes of unhealthy food and drink are groundbreaking.
We are the first developed country that will have tried to do this on this scale, and I think that is really important to recognise. But it's also a big opportunity, I think, for our manufacturers, including for the soft drinks manufacturers, because obesity is a worldwide problem.
But after ministers worked up so much anticipation, for many the end product leaves a sour taste. Tamara Cohen, Sky News, Westminster.
So the government's obesity strategy taking a bit of flack, certainly. The Daily Mail is taking that story on. What are they saying?
That's right, yeah. So we've been waiting a long time for this childhood obesity strategy, and it's been delayed and delayed and delayed. And actually, now that it's been published, it looks like it's been significantly watered down by Theresa May. And it's, you know, I think the thing that tells you all you need to know is that it's not just health campaigners like Jamie Oliver who are really laying into it. It's actually, you've got supermarket bosses, the boss of Sainsbury's, saying this just doesn't go far enough, and actually we need to legislate for food manufacturers to progressively reduce the amount of sugar in food over time. Otherwise it's not a level playing field, and it's in no one's interest to do it. And I think if you look at kind of some of the foods that you see on supermarket shelves, it's in food manufacturers' real interest to sort of market to us this healthy and inverted commas stuff. I think, you know, there were these breakfast drinks, basically chocolate milkshake in a bottle. They're marketed as healthy breakfast on the go. Some of them have got more sugar in them than a can of Coke. Yeah. It's just ridiculous.
But things like trans fats, which are also not going to be banned, things like trans fats, I mean, evil as they are, they allow food to be cheap because they increase the shelf life. And we've got this balance between demanding cheap food, haven't we, and wanting the nation to be healthier. So it's difficult to find the right balance sometimes.
Yeah, but I think it's not just an issue, it's not just a case of demand. This is actually food manufacturers proactively pushing this out to us because it's in their interest, because stuff that's high fat, high sugar, high salt, you know, it's cheaper. It tastes lovely, and it's cheaper to produce. So the only way we're going to see our palates have adjusted to much sweeter food as a result of all this hidden sugars in what we're eating. So the only way we're really going to readjust back is if manufacturers have to start putting, you know, reducing the levels of sugar over time.
I think Jamie Oliver's absolutely right to come out and blast this, because he spent so much time and was so personally committed. I mean, you know, went and advised government and went to select committees and, you know, demanded, you know, so much sort of action on things like fizzy drinks and sugar. He's furious, and he's right. He's like, you know, these words the government are using in the new proposal, should, might, we encourage, it's just not good enough. It's a U-turn that I think Theresa May will come to regret. And I think, you know, playing politics with childhood obesity and children's health is dangerous. And I know, you know, she's worried about the financial impact on companies, you know, if they have to sort of alter what they sell and the way they sell it. But I think the government was brave with these proposals and they've watered them down.
Yeah,
I think that's a really bad
people are now
move.
saying that the average person in this country now is overweight. So the typical
and one
person.
in 3 children when they leave primary school are obese. It's, you know, it's our biggest public health crisis now. It's disgusting.
It's bad.
I've been getting away with it all my